Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuning into Channel 5 News, the world's only news station purely dedicated to giving you the hottest statistical headlines of the day. To start this morning off on a high note, let's join in on senior weather correspondent Jake Bennett, who has something to say in regards to today's forecast. Take it away, Jake.
Thanks, Dan. Today we're going to be looking at some scattered storms across the metropolitan area. And many are wondering just how much rain we'll be seeing over the next 24 hours. Well, all I can say is don't panic. Although there will be dangerous amounts of rain, and you should be scared. Very scared. Now, it is well known that the rain distribution in the South Shore is, of course, considered to follow a random pattern, normal distribution, and is independently recorded. Everyone knows that. Because we are able to use this equation to conclude the following, we are 95% confident that the true expected amount of rainfall in the next 24 hours is captured in the interval 14 to 21 inches. We recommend that you hide younger children and turn your house into a boat. The best of luck to all the survivors. Now back to you at the studio before we all die, Dan.
Very much, Jake. I hope you'll be able to survive the upcoming 3 feet of rainfall. If anyone knows who that man was standing next to our weather correspondent, please let us know. We fear for Jake's safety. Moving on, before we all die in the rainstorm, our chief athletics correspondent, Nicholas J. Tatro, has some information he would like to share in a news segment for Channel 5 called Tatro's Tips. What you got for us, Nicholas?
Oh, I didn't see you there. You want to knock next time? Welcome to Tatro's Tips with me, Tatro. But you should have already known that. If you didn't, seek medical help, please. Today, kids, we're gonna be talking about sports like we always do. Specifically, let's talk probability. Now, children. Seems as though everybody has tattoos these days. Am I right? I think I'm right. Especially athletes like Roger Federer, Phil Mickelson. But what, you might ask, is the probability of a professional athlete having a tattoo given what sports they play? Well, with this handy-dandy tree diagram, we can see that what each probability will be. For example, the probability that their average athlete will go on to professionally play croquet is approximately 0.5. Furthermore, the probability that a professional croquet player has a tattoo is about 0.999. Therefore, in the overall pool of American athletes, it may be concluded that the probability of an athlete playing croquet and having a tattoo is approximately 0.4995. This has been Tatro's Tips. And remember, children, don't look into the sun. Back to you, Steve.
My name is Dan, you insane human. Always great to hear from Nicholas. I never knew that almost every professional croquet player has a sleeve of tattoos. Moving right along here, I would like to introduce a little segment I like to call Doffs with Dan. As we do every week, today we're going to be looking at the scatter plot of the day and examine its distribution. Today, let's look at the relationship between the amount of Arnold Palmer sold at Tedeschi's and the number of deaths from overheating in Barbados. As you can see from this graph, the direction appears to be positive with no apparent outliers. Additionally, the graph looks to have a strong linear form. Based on this graph, it is demonstrated that the relationship between number of Arnold Palmers sold and amount of death from overheating in Barbados is positive, meaning as X increases, Y increases as well. Now, does this mean that every time you purchase an Arnold Palmer at Tedeschi's, you also kill someone in Barbados? Most likely not, and this is because correlation does not imply causation. Just because two variables are positively associated does not mean, in context, that they are directly associated in the real world. In this graph, the summer season acts as a lurking variable, affecting both the number of Arnold Palmer sold and the amount of deaths from overheating in Barbados. The hotter season most likely explains this correlation. Moving away from death for a second, let's check in with our street correspondent, Taj Bakente, who has a new report on the average high schooler's grades. Take it away, Taj.
Thanks, Dan. I'm here at Cohasset High School, home of the Skippers. We're going to be asking a few students about their grades on a recent statistics test to see what their percentiles are in comparison to the rest of the class. You, sir, you look somewhat functional. Hi. If you don't mind my asking, what did you get on your last statistics test?
I got a 31.
Wow, that's really not good. Now, out of 30 kids in the class, only 3 did worse than you. That means your PISS percentile was about 10%. Or in other words, you scored within the 10th percentile of the overall class scores. Congratulations, little boy.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Not very good.
You should. I hope your parents are disappointed. I hope this helped all you folks figuring out how to calculate percentiles. Back to you in the studio, Dan.
Thank you very much, Taj. We can only hope that that child can function on his own in society after high school. Moving right along in our program, let's meet up with our junior crime investigator, Trick Nalton. What do you have for us, Trick?
Thanks, Daniel. I'm here at the Norfolk County Courthouse to discuss racial bias in trial outcomes. Having been arrested 76 times myself, some of the times I kind of tried to get arrested because I know a thing or two about prisons, and would like to see if the public view is much different. In a random sample of 100 people who had never been to prison, we asked them how many prisoners there were in Norfolk Prison based on race out of 100 prisoners. Our null hypothesis here is that there's an equal number of prisoners per race in the prison. In this case, 25 black, white, Latino, and Asian prisoners. In contrast, the alternative would be that at least one of these values is incorrect. For our expected values, it appears that currently, out of 100 prisoners in Norfolk Jail, there are 7 black prisoners, 20 white, 5 Latino, and 68 Asian prisoners. Because all expected values are at least 5, we can produce an overall chi-scored value of 154.73, which yields a p-value of 2.517 times 10 to the negative 33. Given that the p-value is too low, you hold your TI in the air and reject HO. Concluding that the data appears to provide convincing evidence that HA is correct, of course. Therefore, there are not an equal number of prisoners by race in Norfolk Prison. Overall, given that the observed value was much less than expected, the number of Latino prisoners produces the highest chi-scored value of 80. This has been your Daily Crime Report with Trick Noltet. You're welcome.
Trick, always good to hear from you and your ever so slightly racist reports. Hope to not see you back in prison anytime soon, buddy. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been your daily Channel 5 news report, bringing you the finest statistics news across the globe each and every day. Drive home safely and have a wonderful evening.